Aquinas committed the gravest cardinal sin. It was such a serious infraction that he was excommunicated from the Tigarian Alliance. The only problem was he had done no wrong. As the head bladeweaver, he was responsible for training all sword-bearers. His work turned the Alliance into the province's strongest force. In turn, the rival Rhivoveld Kingdom was subdued into the southern bamboo groves. In response, their leader Tuscaro developed a devious plot for Acquinas to break the highest cardinal sin, forever weakening the Tigarians. And so, under the cloak of nightfall, the shadow Rhivoveld warriors stole the Sacred Jade Talisman, a symbol of the High Sage's divine rule over all Tigarians, then planted it in Aquinas' dwelling. He was accused of stealing, so he did something utterly shocking. Aquinas knew that someone had planted the Sacred Jade Talisman in his dwelling to make it look like a heist, but he didn't know who. With no one to blame, he would be excommunicated either way, and so, as he left the boundaries of the Tigarian Alliance, his desperation forced him to do the unthinkable. Even as a decorated bladeweaver, his survival was uncertain, and so he took the Sacred Jade Talisman with him. With it, he could tap into untold powers. There's one superpower that trumps them all, and it's exactly what Aquinas used after he was excommunicated from the Tigarian Alliance. At first, he didn't know what to expect from the Sacred Jade Talisman until an army of sword-bearers came after him. Outnumbered, Aquinas channeled its untold energy, revealing the most dangerous superpower. In an instant, all of time had stopped. Suddenly, he was no longer Aquinas, the head bladeweaver. He was Aquinas, the time shifter. This is the most dangerous part of time control, as Aquinas learned when he went back in time to find out who framed him. He was excommunicated for stealing that of which he did not steal, the Sacred Jade Talisman. So with nothing left to lose, Aquinas stole the talisman for real, becoming a time shifter in the process. With time paused, he went back to his dwelling and was shocked to find the shadow Rhivoveld warriors framing him. Enraged, he drew his sword and prepared to strike them down, but he knew that altering the space-time continuum required extreme caution, because the most dangerous part of time control is erasing your own existence. When the space-time continuum pauses, there's only one safe way to resume without utterly shattering your own existence. Here's how, according to an elder from long ago who told Aquinas back when he was a young Tigarian. By now, Aquinas had time-traveled several days in the past to the very moment the shadow Rhivoveld warriors had framed him. He waited for them to leave his dwelling before enacting this ancient wisdom. Then he did the unthinkable. By touching the two Sacred Jade Talismans together, one from the past and one from the present, all of the future collapsed. Immediately, he replaced the past Aquinas with his future self. He time-traveled to his past, but the biggest challenge was yet to come. That's because after Aquinas touched the two Sacred Jade Talismans together, he was thrust into his youth. Now, he was a young sword-bearer with all of the knowledge of his future self. The only way he could avoid being thrown into a time loop again was to defeat the Rhivoveld warriors before they planted the Sacred Jade Talisman in his dwelling. This meant he would need to take out Tuscaro. Until then, he could enjoy his youth once again as the youngest master sword-bearer in Tigarian history.